All eyes on the way I vibe when I walk into the room. Wind blows underneath the soles of my brand new pair of shoes.
All right. Welcome to the Cold Calling Podcast, where we make live cold calls. If you haven't checked out the Cold Calling Podcast, make sure you do that now. It's on every podcast platform known. You can check out the Cold Calling Podcast. And that's where we drop the best moments from these sessions, teachable moments, tactical moments from experts like Eric that we have coming on today. And then we also drop the other side of these conversations so you can actually hear the full context of the cold call as well, where we're dropping daily content. So definitely check out the Cold Calling Podcast. Eric Ianello is joining us today. Why don't you give folks a quick introduction of who you are, what you do, who you're going to be calling today, and why you're crazy enough to make cold calls on a live show?
Crazy being keyword. What's up, guys? Yeah, my name is Eric. Fortunate enough to jump on here, kind of representing Falcon, my newest endeavor, where I'm actually a part of the full sales cycle team, along with a couple correspondents. And yeah, so crazy is definitely the key word. I think cold calling is no faint of the heart technique, but it's definitely a feature that everyone should master, or at least try to endeavor. But I've worked a few different verticals. I started off in physical fitness. Nothing makes a more awkward conversation than, hey, do you want to work out? And then kind of tailoring that into the whole tech movement, working with engineers. And now I'm selling to more of the GTM division. Yeah.
Or why haven't you been working out?
Yeah, gosh. And do you want to work out with me? It's awkward on all situations. So makes for thick skin.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Eric, thanks so much for joining us. So give folks a little bit of a sample of, what you do there at Falcon, who you're going to be calling into, who you're targeting, any, frameworks for scripting that you tend to follow, or, things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Falcon's main point is to help rep productivity, efficiency being the key word for 2023. In this kind of uncertain market, we want to make sure that everyone's doing revenue generating actions. I think that it's safe to say long gone are the days of, just spraying and praying and hoping and knocking. So the tactical, I guess, output is going to be more of where I'm focusing on, specifically around the VP and director area. We kind of cover all bases within the GTM division, including marketing, RevOps, and sales. So it's kind of have all hands on deck. But today I'm going to be kind of focusing on sales division, talking to the leaders, kind of picking their brain, where their kind of migration is and where their thought patterns are, and seeing if Falcons fits.
Okay, awesome. And, I wish the times of spray and pray were in the past. So not that people don't do that anymore. It's just that it doesn't work anymore.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm going to be calling on behalf of Humantic. I'm going to be calling into sales leaders myself as well, and trying to get conversations going around what they're doing to reach out to people and know their prospects better when they hop on a meeting with them for the first time. So I think the interesting thing is a lot of people go into a cold calling block with the intention of like, I have to set a meeting, which is, what I always say is the wrong mindset, right? I mean, the goal is to learn some things and have some quality conversations. And the result of doing that, hopefully maybe you book some meetings, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it's definitely, I don't want to get embarrassed on my first one. Let's make sure that someone actually picks up.
Yeah, you can always phone a friend in case you're in trouble.
I've got a couple back dialed that I'm just like, if you call, give me something good.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm getting clicked in here, and you should do the same. And then let's have some fun. If you're joining us in the audience, go ahead and give us some cheer us on, give us some feedback, good, bad, indifferent. Heckle us a little bit. Heck, we don't care. Just any attention will do. We're making live cold calls. So
for an hour, gosh, I haven't put in a block like this in a while.
Oh, and I mean, with Monster Connect, it's very fun because you can practically have a week's worth of conversations in 60 minutes.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right. All right, Meg, thanks for joining us. And, don't be scared to, load up your dialer and start making some calls alongside us. Nothing's more fun than making cold calls together.
I think that's what I miss most about working in an office is having the guy to your left and to your right.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of these, virtual tools where you're kind of, calling together, but nothing's better than a, good, fresh call pit.
Yeah. Yeah. The pit. That is the good way to put it.
Yeah, kind of like a mosh pit. I've never been in a mosh pit, but I'd imagine it's kind of like a call pit.
A lot less blood, hopefully.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Yeah. Debatable.
All right, we're getting fired up here. Hey, David, this is Collin with Humantic. This is actually my first time giving you a call, but do you have like half a minute and I can tell you exactly why I decided to pick up the phone and cold call you today? Yeah. Hey, thanks for the time and good luck with the job hunting. I'll send you a connection request on LinkedIn. We can maybe connect there and see if it makes sense to have a chat once you land somewhere. Okay. I'm not. I have a bit of a cold that I'm fighting, so I don't know if maybe that kind of makes it sound like I have a Mississippi swagger, but not no. All right, have a good one. So getting a lot of those today.
That's heartbreaking.
Late Spanish. Yeah. So. Yeah. Sucks calling people that don't have a job. I don't know where I mean, I am fighting a cold. I don't think I sound like I'm from Mississippi.
Tori. Oh, I guess they don't want to talk to me either.
You got a double tap, man. Come on.
I'm coming from you.
Not a fan of the double tap, Eric?
I am. I think in retrospect of timing, I don't know. Are you ever conscious of what time of day you call and kind of where that kind of leads to success?
So, I'm not. I like to call. I like to do most of my calling in the morning. I don't have. I think that as the day starts to get away from people a bit, a little bit challenging. But the reality is, most of us are calling direct dials and mobile these days, and with so many folks working from home, like I think it doesn't matter as much.
Sure.
Plus, getting it out of the way early in the day leaves less reasons to not do it.
Yeah, right. Kind of gets it out of the way. I get you.
Yeah, we're also busy, right? Busy.
Yeah.
Your cold call block's the first thing that doesn't get done when you're busy.
For me, I have a lot more success. I mean, lack of a better term, in the evening. I think once people are kind of winding down a little bit more conversational.
Yeah. After they've had that, 5 o'clock drink you do some late night calling.
Persuasiveness, if I may.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a good time for FaceTime.
Yeah, right. I know. Oh, this face is made for radio, my friend.
Here's a good question. Mariel says, we're discussing the tone of communication within our team. And
Hey, Timothy, this is Eric Falcon. How are you, sir? Yeah.
Double tap.
Loving it. Yeah.
Sounds like a double tap opportunity to me.
Maybe I'm not connected correctly. I'm not hearing them on my side.
So Mariel was asking a question about tone. You have any thoughts on the right tone for calling people?
Quintessential, in my opinion. I think, I posted this the other day. Tone makes or break the conversation. I'm a very type A, hyperactive person, so I kind of have to mindfully tone it down a little bit. But
do you just naturally sound like you drank too much coffee?
I naturally just do drink too much coffee, as we were discussing about having kids.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, tone is quintessential, and I think especially these days where a lot of my successful calls have been a result of tone, which they've admitted and complimented it. So honing in on that, but conversational, slow, making sure you're clear.
Hey, Brendan, this is Collin with Humantic. This is actually my first time giving you a call. Do you have like half a minute and I can tell you exactly why I decided to cold call you today? Yeah, so reason I'm reaching out is I see that you're the SVP of sales there, and just really calling to introduce my company to you when I'm not calling you out of the blue like today. But have you ever heard of Humantic before by chance? Got it. Well, I want to make sure it's relevant. Don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'm sure your sales team, when they're prospecting or maybe reaching out to folks like for the first time, like I am today, or maybe jumping on a Zoom for the first time, they probably have something in place to research those people. Am I right? Usually it's like LinkedIn, Sales Navigator, Zoom info, something. Yeah, got it. Now, next question to see if this is relevant. It's not a trick question or meant to be a gotcha or anything like that. But do they have anything in place to understand the personality of those people? Like, how to build a winning connection with them, what communication style and preferences are, do's and don'ts, and maybe even sales landmines to avoid? Yeah, yeah, right. Right. Yeah. So I totally agree with that. Right. But you can agree that we all have personality types, right? Some people are more, hey, get straight to the point. Other people, enjoy pleasantries, small talk, and relationship building, which sounds like, is not the case with, somebody like you and even myself. Do you think that's accurate or am I way far off? Okay, cool. So that's exactly what we do here at Humantic. We help arm your sales team with information about their prospects so that they can be better prepared to tailor how they show up for that person based on how to build a winning connection. Would it be a terrible idea for me to steal 15 minutes on your calendar to just give you a brief introduction of some of the results that other sales leaders are seeing with Humantic like next week? Yeah. Okay. And all right. So, and you're East Coast, right? So, would this Friday be good, or would you prefer the 10th next Friday? Okay. So, why don't we shoot for the 10th, 3 o'clock your time, and I'll go ahead and send you a bit of information, about Humantic and some of the results that we've seen with other leaders like yourself, and then I'll send you an invite for the 10th at 3 o'clock your time. All right. Can you just make sure I have the right email, if you don't mind? Hmm. Yep. Okay, fantastic. Brennan, thanks so much for your time. Appreciate it. I'll get that sent out right now. All right, take care. Boom.
Make it look too easy, man.
I mean, he gave me a little pushback too. He's like, I don't really think that stuff's important. Like, I just want them to talk about what's relevant.
Yeah.
And so I knew that, I mean, you can't disagree that we all have personality types. I mean, that's just like, and different people care about different things, and there's different ways to win and build relationships with those people based on what they care about. So I had to kind of overcome that objection of like what you do doesn't matter. um, Luckily I was able to get him to that place, and then my favorite complimentary close is, hey, would it be a terrible idea for me to
Mhm.
steal 15 minutes on your calendar next week? And he said, no, I don't have my calendar in front of me, but Fridays after 3 o'clock are typically the best time. So then it
Rock
was
and
just a
roll.
simple, hey, is it this Friday or is it next Friday?
That's interesting. I've definitely kind of veered away from giving them a time block, so I use the word brief. It's a little more of a softer tone. Do you ever see any pushback with the amount of time that you give?
Yeah, I mean, you can't accomplish a lot in 15 minutes. And it's going to sound horrible, but I'm not going to send a 15-minute invite.
Well, no, I don't know. I mean, one doesn't exist. My point is, yeah, exactly. If
Yeah.
you're going to say 5 and all of a sudden a half hour later,
Yeah, I'm going to send him a 60-minute invite on Friday.
no.
I mean, my default is 20, but I don't know. I think I'm just accustomed to saying 15. Maybe I should change that and not call myself out on a live show.
Sorry, I didn't mean to set you up that way.
No, it's okay. It's fine. The funny thing is nobody's ever said anything. Nobody's ever said like, dude, you asked for 15 and you sent me a 20-minute. Like, what's up with that? You stole an extra 5 minutes. Nobody's ever said anything. So I did have an interesting thing on last session where the guy, was interested and he said, hey, you seem like you're pretty good at this. I'll give you 20 minutes with an open mind to hear your pitch. If you come join my sales meeting for 20 minutes and talk to my team about cold calling.
There it is.
And I said, that seems like a fair deal.
Can't argue with that.
All right. So I am one of those people that literally has to send an invite right now, or there's a chance I forget to do it. So
I'm filling out every piece of paperwork I can. It's just on the back of my mind too.
Yeah. You getting any connects over there?
I got one and they didn't like me too much. Maybe it was my tone on my intro.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were talking about tone here before this gentleman picked up, and I'm a big believer on, how you say things is way more important than what you say.
Yeah, I was talking about it the other day, just on a post, just those who are trying to crush that, end of month push, don't focus on a product, focus on your tone, have a conversation, not so much an angle.
Yeah. I mean, the point there is the goal is not to necessarily it is, but it isn't. The goal is to set meetings, yes. But the real goal is to have, high quality business conversations. And I think too many people come into it, thinking, coming like a little bit overly passive of like, oh, I'm the seller, you're the prospect. And like, you're calling, you got to come into it like you're calling a peer. I do kind of bring it down to like a bit of a, like more of a passive tone in my opener, just because I'm trying to get, because, when you cold call somebody, they're in that, who the heck is this? What are you calling? What do you want? Is this a cold call? That's all the things running through their head. Right. So you got to get them out of that sort of fight or flight mode. And I found the best way to do that is to be a little bit passive of like, in the opener, and then get that permission and then come in, with more of a confident tone, and you could speed it up a little bit too.
Absolutely. No, it's like you said, like a softer
yeah
tone.
I mean, even like the chuckle, even like the light little chuckle in the opener, that's all by design.
I like to think mine is too, but it's really just natural angst.
Yeah. Or some people could just be like natural, just being a little nervous, which is fine, fine.
Shoot, I still get butterflies.
Doing cold calls is like drinking morning coffee for me.
It just goes hand in hand with your routine.
Yeah. Day doesn't start until you do your cold calling block.
I respect that.
This was a great. I'm really happy with that meeting. This is a great size potential here.
There you go. I'm gonna have to start flying out and knocking on some people's doors here.
I always respect people who cut their teeth in door knocking.
That's ruthless. That's ruthless.
Yeah. A lot of people who started in door knocking, I found.
Hey, Collin, this is Eric from Falcon. How are you, sir? Hey, if you can't tell the tone of it, this is a total cold call. Did I catch you at a bad time? Oh, hey, just real quick. I just wanted to see if Falcon rings a bell at all, or if I'm totally catching you out of the blue here. Okay, quick introduction to it. Falcon's revenue execution and automation platform. We're kind of addressing a couple big problems that we're commonly seeing here in today's market. three of which are rep profitability and efficiency, pipeline health, and PLG. I noticed that you guys over at Zealous have a pretty good substantial growth rate now that you guys are kind of coming into 23. Are we focusing mostly on new business or kind of reverting to a churn reduction? Oh, is that right? Okay. And is that like mainly the AE's responsibility, or is that dispersed between a couple different parties? Mhm. That's awesome. Yeah, we get pushed to them all the time. I know that they hold the keys to the castle. The purpose of today's call, as you probably guessed, is for you guys who would probably be utilizing the platform, is to get your eyes on it. It's mainly test drive before you buy, so to speak. I know a lot of the sales ops these days like to have a little bit of relevancy before I knock on their door. Would you be opposed to taking a couple minutes and talking with my CRO and myself and seeing if Falcon would be useful to help some of your reps with higher productivity? Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely. I respect that. I'd be happy to do that. Let me just kind of confirm your preferred email for this one. Actually, I don't think I have it listed here. Would you mind just shooting that over to me? Okay. Hmm. Excellent. You said for the next 4 weeks, you guys are a little head of the water, you said? Oh man, good for you guys. I'm kind of a little jealous of that one. Well, how about I put something on the calendar? Maybe we can reconvene when we get a little closer to that date. How does that sound? All right, buddy. Hey, I'm going to shoot that over to you and appreciate it, brother. All right, talk to you later. Cool.
Nice. Sound like a decent call. Some interest there.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely reconvene. Of course, I think that company is interesting. Of course, the titles, doesn't always correlate with one another. So a VP somewhere is definitely not a VP elsewhere.
Yeah.
That's good to know that at least they could hear me.
All right. Any thing you want to share about how that last call went? As far as like, what was he saying? Were you getting any pushback? Was there some genuine interest?
Yeah, I think once it sparked his rep productivity and talking about basically the book of business that an AE holds, it captivated his attention. So obviously it was relevant in the sense of what I perceived as maybe they're doing more with less with a lot of reps. And so obviously that's where Falcon really comes in and fits, is helping tailor those workloads. But yeah, once he said that, and of course he was just jumping into his hotel. I guess he's traveling, so I caught him as he was checking in. So it was kind of like one of those 5-minute tell me what you got kind of spiels.
Yeah.
But he understands, and he loves the grind, and he was even complimenting that too. And he says for the next 4 weeks he's going to be head underwater, just kind of traveling around, but to come back and touch base with him.
I think for people that are like tuning in, listening to the podcast, watching the live show, we all love to get meetings set on the first call. But the reality, I hate to break it to you, is most meetings get set in the follow-up. So any tips, or just kind of how do you handle taking someone who's interested from a cold call like that to making sure you stay on top of it, and getting it to a meeting?
Yeah, that's a great call out. And to your point, a lot of the successful ones, and a lot of the ones worth of value, obviously you can get a meeting, and that's a vanity metric these days, but to actually break down a valued meeting, I think is where the real measurement comes in. But to answer your question, where I keep it, I'm a calendar jockey. I keep myself little notes. What time did I call them? What did we talk about? And then push it out to the date or the time frame which they requested, and just relay the information. Probably have to rekindle the information, of course, but I like to hit them from all angles. Send a note with something relevant. Obviously, either they call follow up or what we had talked about. LinkedIn. I think we can all appreciate the power of LinkedIn and what connections we can make from that. But I also put just a face to the name. Drop them a quick note with just that angle, not try to pitch slap them or anything like that. And then respect the time frame. I'm not trying to rush it. I'm not trying to pull it. I mean, desperate times call for desperate measures, but for the most part, definitely respect the time frame of what they've requested.
Yeah, that's a good tip, because being the sales rep that does what they say they're going to do, as simple as it sounds, goes a long way, right? If they give you a legit reason, that it's not going to be a good time till X date, respect that. Or if they give you a little nugget of like, hey, I'm going to be out doing this, or I'm going to be going to a trade show here, or I'm going to be out on, this leave or whatever, like take good notes, man, because notes help you recapture where you left the last conversation off.
Yeah, absolutely. And tone is, I think, a big thing too. You can kind of come in with a better understanding of who they are, where their temperament is, and just kind of match their flow of conversation, and it makes for a much more valuable, a lot more stronger conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that was the hardest discipline when I first started getting into this, was respecting the time frame of what they requested. They'd be like, call me in April. Well, hey, it's March. Is it still, and kind of pushing the boundaries a little bit, they would give pushback, but I'm like, hey, man, I'm here for my paycheck, brother.
Now the on the flip side of that, which is a valid point, and I totally agree with, for the people that like hang up on you or not interested, hey, Joseph, this is Collin with Humantic. This is actually the first time I've given you a call here, but do you have like half a minute, and I can tell you exactly why I decided to cold call you today? Yeah, so reason I'm reaching out is really just to introduce my company to you, Humantic, when I'm not calling you out of the blue like today. But have you ever heard of us before by chance? Got it. Well, I definitely want to make sure it's relevant. I see that you're the SVP of sales there, and just curious, when your team is maybe reaching out to folks for the first time, prospects, kind of like I am right now, or maybe jumping on a Zoom for the first time. Do they have any sort of process in place for researching those people, getting to know them a little bit better, be more prepared? Got it. So I had you here at patient point. Hmm. Yeah. No. Any particular reason why? Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. Hey, yeah, well, let me do this. Just if you have like another 30 seconds, we can see if it does make sense to have another chat or if not. But what we do is we arm your sales team with information about the people that they maybe have meetings already set with or that they're prospecting into. So we give them their personality type. Are you familiar with DISC at all by chance? Okay. All right, awesome. So maybe you have taken a disc assessment. Maybe you have your sales team take a disc assessment. Well, what we do is we give you the disc personality profile of your prospects before you ever even meet them. That way, you're not relying on reading them and identifying it. And then we give you do's and don'ts and sort of coaching to your reps all the way from prospecting to building a winning connection, building relationships, what matters most, and sales landmines to avoid. Um, I know that's a bit of a mouthful, and again, I'm calling you out of the blue, but would it be terrible to suggest that we meet for 15, 20 minutes like next week and I can show you how this is working for other sales leaders like you? Hmm. Yeah, I mean, we use a bunch of academics and research that's been done in order to, identify different people's disc type and what, you should do with, different types that are, not exactly your type. So, and, yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of companies that train on disc and maybe use assessments in their hiring process, but it's really challenging for reps to, put it into practice all of the time, especially if they get into a high stakes situation. They're always going to fall back to their natural tendencies. And so that's where we make that much easier for them. So they know ahead of time, maybe this person is a I type and I'm a D type, and pleasantries and small talk are going to go a long way, and that's not my normal way of doing things, or the exact opposite, of course. So, I mean, how many sellers do you have on your team? Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we don't do training or we don't do training or anything like that. It's a software tool that, yeah, right, right, yeah, mhm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I mean, if they knew that person's personality before knocking on that door, do you think that would be helpful? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Hey, well, I really appreciate your time. I definitely can send you over some information and you can have a look. But sounds like it's probably not a good fit at the moment. Hey, appreciate that. Yeah. Hey, appreciate that, Joseph. Have a good rest of the day. All right. Bye bye. Man, I thought I thought I was gonna wrangle that one in.
I think it was like that roller coaster call where it's like,
Yeah, yeah. I was
oh,
like,
oh.
oh yes, it's going good. Yeah, he's almost there. He's almost there. Oh,
It just
there's
pivoted
a
hard.
yeah. But you got to respect somebody who's like, hey, I really don't want to waste your time, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, that's the what that even though I didn't book a meeting, to me, that's a win.
Hmm.
Why is that a win? Because I had a good conversation. I don't know. I think I talked to him for three, maybe 3, 4 minutes, which is most cold calls are about a minute and a half. So I had a good conversation with him and arrived at a hey, he's not interested and he has a very good reason for not being interested. So what does that mean? I don't have to follow up. I don't have to send him some email, try to chase him down. I don't have to cold call him again. Like refining your list to finding people that have some interest and have a problem that you can solve is why we do this in the first place.
Hmm.
And so narrowing that list and getting rid of the people that are not interested with a decent reason is part of it. And so I would much rather know that now early than, him try to be a nice guy and just give me a meeting and then, get happy years and think there's an opportunity, the potential at the table.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and you nailed it. I used to work for a sales leader that would tell me to have alternative motives. It's like try to get one of them to laugh, or like try to get one of them to something of the obscurity of just getting the meeting booked, and it kind of help lower the pressure and again focus on the conversation, not the angle.
Um, but the beauty of using Monster Connect is, you can have lots of these conversations in a short period of time and learn what works, what doesn't, and get to the answer much faster.
Yeah. I don't normally use a power dialer, so this is fun to just crank them out.
Hey, Nick. Hey, Nick, this is Collin with Humantic. This is my first time giving you a call. Did I catch you at a good time? Do you have a half a minute so I can tell you why I decided to pick up the phone and cold call you today? Yeah. Reason I'm reaching out, Nick, is really to introduce my company to you, Humantic AI.
Hey, Alyssa, this is Eric
Have
calling
you
from Falcon.
ever
How are you
heard of
today?
us before by chance?
This is Eric
Humantic,
calling
yeah.
from Falcon. Does that ring a bell at all? Okay, well, apologies. I
Yeah, so
probably tell the cold
seeing
call.
that you're
Am I catching you at
obviously
a bad
at
time here?
Zoom Info, obviously I know that your team, probably has a
Well,
pretty,
cool. Hey, just
decent
to
process
do
as
it
far
over
as
quickly,
researching
Falcon
folks
is a
before they
revenue education and
prospect
automation
them, kind of like
platform.
I am
We're
today,
addressing a
or
couple big
hopping
problems
on a
that we're
meeting
commonly seeing in
with
today's
them for the
market.
first
And
time,
a
right?
few of those points are rep profitability and efficiency. The other two are pipeline
Awesome.
health
Well,
and PLG
I don't
motion.
think that you probably have anything in
My current
place like
question
this, but
is,
I'll ask:
now that we're kind of
do
moving
they have
toward the
any
most
way of knowing
interesting
the
year to
personality of
date,
those people?
are you guys
What
focusing
the
more on new
preferred
business
communication style
activation, or
is?
is
How
it
to build a
kind of
winning
reverting
connection?
to
Things that
true
matter
reduction?
most to them, and sales landmines to avoid.
Okay. And is that solely based like with just the AEs, or is that kind of dispersed between an SDR generating meetings, or how does that look for you guys?
Yeah. So if you're prospecting into them or hopping on a meeting for the first time, is there anything in place to kind of know the personality type of that person so that you can have a good
Oh, you guys
sense
are working on
of
inbound.
how to maybe show up
That's awesome.
differently?
Okay. And is that from like a marketing kind of syndication, or how are you guys sourcing those inbound?
Yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. Now, for your team directly, I mean, I'm assuming, do you lead the AE
Yeah.
team, or is it? Do you mind
Yeah.
just diving
So
into
you
your
have some
area
good,
of expertise on the director?
persona profile based stuff, good, contact account intelligence, obviously. But nothing to know like the person. Like, for example, is this an ROI driven person? Do they care more about relationships?
Okay. Okay. And do you have a
Are
direct team
they
that kind of
more
works under you?
type of person that likes more detail and wants to know how the sausage is made type of person? So, that's
Oh,
exactly what
okay.
we
And
do
then how are you guys
here at
monitoring, if you don't mind me
Humantic.
asking, how are you
And I was
guys
just
monitoring
curious,
kind of your
do
output
you
and
think it'd be a
rep
terrible idea
efficiency?
to grab 15 minutes in the next week or two and show you how
With
sales
like
leaders like yourself
dashboards and
are increasing,
Salesforce, or is that
positive
a
outcomes
secondary
on
platform?
prospecting by up to 250%, and also
Okay. And
increasing revenue by up to 6.2%?
is that something that you kind of tear out your hair out every day when you kind of pull those up, or how do you feel about those dashboards? Oh, okay. Is that like a secondary team, like a RevOps? Oh, I was just curious how that process works. Is that kind of like a RevOps secondary team, or is it
Mhm.
someone that works for you?
Got it. Okay. And I'm
Got
sorry,
it.
I didn't
Okay.
catch his last name.
Well, my question is on when you guys are kind of looking at your ICP, and I know you guys have a kind of a
Okay,
unique one
awesome.
there.
Well, I
How are you
will
guys
reach out to him.
tracking? I
Definitely
mean, when you do
appreciate the
inbound or outbound, how
assistance
are you
there.
guys qualifying the leads that do come through?
All right. See ya. Have a good one.
Okay. So am I catching this correctly that you only deal with inbound and nothing outbound generated? Gotcha. Okay. Okay. And I'm sure that's just sourced through the AEs and then obviously up to you when you kind of take a look at the deals. Okay. And then my final question, I'm gonna probably exhausted your time and I appreciate you sticking with me here. Um, when you're looking at the deals that have kind of been pushed pulled, what are some of the common factors that you see that are kind of given those attributions, or worst case close lost? Mm. So it's more of an external rather than a rep performance, if I'm getting that correctly. Okay. Well, can you tell me a little bit more about that? You're saying modernizing the technology. Is that like an internal stack performance that you guys are modernizing, or is it your actual product that you're referring to? Sure. Yeah, yeah. So is it kind of like a PLG notion that you guys are driving your forces on, that's kind of I guess your leading force, if I may ask? Okay. Okay. And then how are you guys using like the alert factors of it for the PLG notion? Is that like a POCUS or something of that nature? Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. Hey, no, I don't want to take up more of your time. I know it's a Wednesday afternoon, and I appreciate we. Yeah, yeah. I'll do that shortly after this. I greatly appreciate all the time that you give me. Really do. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Another roller coaster call.
Oh man, I was she just kept on diverting me to marketing team.
Mm,
So I was trying to reel it back in, but yeah, good stuff. It's a unique one where they work on only inbound leads, which is obviously the dream.
yeah. I don't know if I buy that though.
I tried. I picked at it and I was like, PLG, is it, I tried every angle, but
Hey, Anthony, this is Collin with Humantic. This is actually my first time giving you a call, but do you have like half a minute and I can tell you exactly why I decided to reach out to you today? All right, I'll make it quick. See if it's relevant. Anthony, I was calling to introduce my company to you, Humantic AI. Really, just when I'm not calling you out of the blue. But have you ever heard of us before by chance? Got it. Well, reason I'm reaching out is just to, make sure that it would be relevant to introduce Humantic to you. Your sales team, when they're, prospecting into folks or maybe meeting with them for the first time, do they have anything in place to research those people, get to know them a little bit better before reaching out or having that first meeting? Okay. And, are they primarily like using Zoom Info or LinkedIn Sales Navigator or tools like that? Okay, fantastic. That means you value researching folks, which is means could be relevant to you, but definitely want to make sure. Question is not a gotcha or trick question, but do they have anything in place to understand the personality of those people, how to build a winning connection, communication style, do's and don'ts, and even sales landmines to avoid? Yeah. So it sounds like you might be familiar with DISC. Are you familiar with DISC by chance? So it's a personality profile, mainly used in sales, for communication style preferences and things like that. So it's exactly what we do here at Humantic is we arm your sales team with information about the personality of those people, how to build a winning connection. Are they, somebody who values relationships or ROI, sales landmines to avoid, do's and don'ts in meetings, things like that. That's kind of a glimpse. I know I'm calling you out of the blue. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds. But sales leaders like you have seen an increase in positive outcomes on prospecting by 256% and increase in revenue by up to 6.2%. So do you think it'd be a terrible idea to grab 15 minutes on your calendar next week and show you how other sales leaders are using Humantic? Yeah, I'm happy to send you over some information if there's something specific. But just to be efficient, I can send you some info, and if there's a time that works best next week, I can go ahead and send that invite out. And if it makes sense to meet after if you like what you see, then we can go ahead and do that. Sure. Okay, sounds good, Anthony. Thanks so much for your time. I'll go ahead and send that over, and hopefully we can get something set up. Okay. All right. Take care. Have a good one. Ah, so close.
It's the first. Everyone's got,
So
just
close.
getting over that shell shock,
Man.
recovering from. But I like how you angled the information. I do the same thing when they ask that. It's is there something specific, and then try to angle the call to that. Dive in there.
The hard thing is, sometimes when you're calling cell phones, like some people, I mean, we have our calendars on our phones, but
Yeah.
some people, they're just not in that zone or that mindset where they want to go, yeah, hold on and, pull it up and, yeah, sure, that works. Like some people just don't want to do that. So if you call them and they happen to be out or something like that and they're not in front of their workstation, they're just not going to pull their calendar up.
Yeah.
And you can push a little bit, but you also got to know when not to push because then you risk, losing any rapport that you may have built up. And he genuinely sounded interested. He wanted to see something specific so he could share it with his team. And then he was open to setting up some time from there. But he let me get through the whole spiel, and I thought I was gonna ring the gong on that one.
Cut me quick, man. Yeah.
Sometimes
not,
when the call goes too well, you have to be concerned.
hey, there you go. Gosh, who was it the other day that posted something about that? It's like the easy connect makes the hard sale, the hard connect makes the easy sale, something of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, some of my, just in my history of my sales career, some of my best customers are the ones that gave me the hardest time.
Yeah.
Ones that hung up on me the first, several handfuls of times calling and never responded to any emails. And then finally just right timing, need existed and, were loyal and referred people and, became, so.
Teaches you the art of resiliency.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to book meetings on their first email and their first call. And it's like, come on. I mean, in my experience, it's usually like somewhere between the 6th to 10th touch where you actually start to get their attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's a beautiful system that you can put in place of obviously building up that relevancy. So when you call, it's not a cold call, right? It's more of a warm call. The dream is, yeah, I've heard of your company. Talk to me about it. I mean, that's the dream, right? But
Yeah. I was waiting for your call.
yeah,
I
I've
was
gotten that
hoping,
once.
I was hoping you were going to call me today so we could
I'm
set
literally
something
on your
up.
website.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's technology today where you like,
Hey, Casey, this is Eric calling from Falcon. How are you? Hey, I'm doing great, man. Wednesday afternoon, so trying to get it bright and early. If you haven't noted the tone of it, this is definitely a cold call. So forgive me if I'm interrupting something a little bit more dire on your end. Hey, I don't know if Falcon rings a bell at all, or am I totally catching you off guard here? No worries. Quick introduction to it. We're a revenue execution and automation platform. Our main thing is that we're addressing a couple of the fallacies that we see in today's market. Three of them are going to be profitability and efficiency, pipeline health, and then PLG notions. So the purpose of my call is definitely with Emburse. You guys are keeping an awesome trajectory for growth during these uncertain times, mind you. Are you guys kind of focusing your output to more new business, or is it kind of focused around churn reduction? Mm, okay. Oh, that's fantastic. No, I definitely appreciate that. I'll definitely give his door a knock. Actually, the purpose of my call is more directed for you for the AE kind of overlook and book of business, if I may say. But a lot of the questions I have are kind of pertaining for like deal structure or deal slippage and of stuff of that nature. You got a minute to if I can pick your brain? Cool. Most point is obviously, your AEs, you're saying you're kind of taking care of above all. Is that a book of business as well as new business acumen, or is that how does that structure look? Oh, okay. And are you kind of the powers above of a team currently? SVP Kenny. Okay, well, yeah, my thing is definitely going to be the more relevancy to the role. I like to make sure before I go to the powers above is to see the practicality, the relevancy, whether or not it actually would fit with your structure. So I like going around and knocking on your guys' door and seeing just how it test drives and whether or not it even, like I said, piques your interest. So a couple of things that Falcon focuses on are ICP scoring, multi-threading scores, as well as like deal structure and alerts and of that nature, as well as pipeline health and so much more. But I would love to obviously steal a couple more minutes where I'm not catching out of the blue here and kind of give me the opportunity to not only take a peek but to talk to my CRO and kind of knock chops around. Okay. I respect that. Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, yeah. Well, yeah. How about this? I'll one up it. How about we get together, just you and myself, and we kind of chop shop for about 5-10 minutes, and then bring it over from there. Because I'd hate to obviously interrupt either one of your guys' times, and I guess yeah. Looking at the second week of March. I'm locally out of Idaho, the flyover state. Okay, to each his own. I love that. Yeah, you're CST. Yeah, I'm MST, so just right around there. But my calendar is totally open. But yeah, the purpose of this is more of just brand awareness, information, picking your brain, and then obviously taking what you would see as the best in a step. Well, let me give you this. How about dealer's choice? Whatever is more preferable for you. All of those times are flexible in my book. 1 o'clock Central on the 7th. Beautiful. Okay. And just to make sure that I've got the right contact on this, Casey dot last name at company.com. Awesome. Cool. Hey, so it doesn't call it fall blindly. Excuse me. I know Gmail is kind of doing these safeguards on these meeting invites. I'll shoot this over here in the next couple of minutes, but if I don't see it accepted the next day or two, you mind me reaching out just to tap you on the shoulder? All right, my friend. Well, hey, thanks so much again. Appreciate it. I'll send over a little snippet so that way we're not walking in blindly and kind of give you a little sneak preview as well. All right, my friend. You're a gentleman and a scholar. All right, sir. Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. And does he manage like your BDR team or something like that for you? Okay. Fantastic. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have your email here, so I'll just kind of send you a brief thing there, and then you could make a warm introduction to Austin and see if it does make sense to implement this implement something like Humantic for you guys. Okay, awesome. Thanks for your time. All right, take care. Appreciate it. So that was like a warm referral. Love warm referrals.
Nice.
From the top down. So when you're calling somebody more senior and they say, "Hey, I got this, sounds like this would be interesting for this person who reports up to me. Send me some information. I'll make sure that he takes a look at it."
Nice. Nice.
Take
Name
it.
drop them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was able to take a W on that last call too, right at the top of the hour. So pretty nice on that one.
Nice.
Making a couple referrals for some multi-threading too, so it seems pretty strong.
All right. Awesome. So I guess that's a wrap. You booked one. I booked one. I got several nice referrals as well. Let me just update this last call. Thanks everybody who joined the session. If you have not checked out the Cold Calling podcast, now's a good time to do that, where you can hear the other side of these conversations, the best moments from these sessions, and then we'll be back at it again next week, same time. And thanks to everybody who joined us today. Thank you, Eric, for coming and joining us today. Appreciate you.
Appreciate the invite.
Had a blast dialing with you, and maybe have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, man. My door's always open. This was awesome.